In the ongoing lowering of our national limbo bar, I gotta say, Donald Trump has proven himself surprisingly limber for a man with those cankles.
And what's going on. I mean, I really, one minute you feel like, oh my gosh, this is going to be, now the landslide's going to start. And then there'll be some other weaselly little, sidestep they do or whatever it is. And, this administration is a rabid dog, and it's turning us upside down. And all, as far as I'm concerned, it's as obvious as the nose on your face.
Picture this. Stephen Colbert, armed with wit sharper than a sushi chef's knife, launching verbal grenades that leave Trump spinning in confusion. Enter Jim Carrey, a whirlwind of cartoon-level chaos, warping reality, time, and egos. Especially one very orange ego. Two worlds collide, two comedic forces unite, one target in their sights. It's satire meets madness, intellect meets absurdity. Grab your popcorn, buckle up, and prepare for the ultimate roast, where truth, comedy, and chaos explode in glorious technicolor.
Oh, he's achieved two new lows. First, you know how Donald Trump has always sued everyone and everything at all times everywhere? Well, some of those claims were against the Department of Justice, who, during the Biden administration and before, made the fatal mistake of doing their jobs.
Trump is toast.
I like that one. That's
Trump is toast. Yeah, man.
And so you just kind of digest the news of the day.
It's an affirmation.
Stephen Colbert is on the warpath again, and this time the target practically announces itself: Trump. You can almost see Colbert honing his wit like a blade, every quip sharpened for impact. Somewhere, Trump's likely rehearsing his serious face in the mirror, blissfully unaware that a storm of satire is gathering. When Colbert's humor hurricane hits, no amount of hairspray or bluster will keep that comb-over intact.
Some of his claims are over investigations into his Russia ties and the seizure of hundreds of classified documents from Mar-a-Lago's highly secure guest bathroom. Okay, he didn't like that. He got really mad, so okay. Now, of course, after he became president, all the cases against him were dropped. But that's not enough. The man wants his money, don't make him put his rings on. Specifically, Trump wants the DOJ to pay him $230 million, which, from the sound of this audience, is obviously ridiculous.
It's the kind of comedic collision that leaves audiences gasping for breath, wondering if reality just clocked out for the night. Colbert skips subtlety. He wields humor like a scalpel, carving through ego and absurdity with surgical precision. Nuance? That's for those without comb-overs or chronic Twitter withdrawals.
I can't look at it.
I'm glad I ate beforehand.
Oh my God, there's so many nipple-like things and actual nipples.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. I mean, no, I was gonna say I love Jim Carrey, but
He criticized capitalism without a conscience. And that's what we have now. We have capitalism without a conscience. He showed the common man being fed through gears of the brutal, dehumanizing industrial age. He took on the American right wing of his day, its worst evils: hatred of immigrants, contempt for the truth, greed, and the abuse of power. We are fighting those same evils today.
Every line is a scalpel, slicing through the absurdity of a man who treats policy like a game show and diplomacy like a sponsorship deal. You can almost see the gears turning in Colbert's mind. Observe, exaggerate, satirize, repeat. The audience revels in that deliciously guilty thrill of watching unchecked confidence deflate. One razor-sharp punchline at a time.
After two terms, what we're 9 months into this, we think it would be impossible for us to be shocked by Donald Trump. But give the man credit. Every so often, he takes the time to attach the electrodes to our nipples. And then it feels like the first time. Case in point, yesterday, as part of his White House ballroom project, he sent out a backhoe to rip off a chunk of the East Wing.
Meanwhile, in another dimension of delightful chaos, Jim Carrey storms the scene. If Colbert is a surgeon, Carey is a cartoon hammer. Reality twists in his hands, physics throws up its laws, and facial expressions melt and reform like wild art in motion. His voices wobble as though gravity forgot to apply, and the sheer unpredictability of it all leaves Trump floundering like a toddler in a boardroom. Carey's humor isn't just sharp. It's an acid trip through a hall of mirrors, every reflection orange, exaggerated, and utterly bewildered. Watching him feels like witnessing someone paint a masterpiece while setting off fireworks in the same room. What makes this comedic assault so mesmerizing is the contrast. Colbert is meticulous, deliberate, a surgical sniper of satire whose jokes cut with clinical precision. Carey, by contrast, is chaos incarnate, physical, explosive, and larger than life, his comedy a glorious hurricane of energy. Yet somehow both meet perfectly in their target. The contradictions, ego, and sheer absurdity of one man determined to make himself the punchline of history. Trump can't escape either one. Colbert's verbal strikes hit before he even processes the setup, while Carey's over-the-top caricatures dominate every screen, from late-night TV to viral clips at brunch. Together, they form a one-two punch of intellect and insanity, a comedy collision that reality itself can't quite keep up with.
You can make a bad decision about a candidate. It's not who you are. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It doesn't mean you're different. It doesn't mean, the trouble with what's happening right now is these really negative forces like the Steve Bannons of the world are convincing us that we're separate, that we're not the same country, that there's two countries. There's not two countries. I can break bread with anybody in this country. I love people in this country. I love the heartland of this country.
Every laugh feels like proof that the universe has a sense of humor and a favorite target. Colbert takes aim at Trump's greatest hits, the overconfidence, the hyperbole, the baffling grasp of reality. One moment, he's dissecting a press conference with surgical precision, exposing how a simple policy question spirals into a self-congratulatory monologue. The next, he's highlighting contradictions so glaring that fact-checkers everywhere sigh in quiet despair. His humor isn't cruel. It's incisive, cutting through the noise to reveal truth with a wink. Each joke lands like a perfectly calibrated reminder that absurdity can be its own form of justice. Carey, meanwhile, charges headfirst into the theater of madness. Where Colbert dissects, Carey detonates. He exaggerates every quirk until reality itself seems to buckle. A hand gesture transforms into a slapstick ballet. A shift in tone becomes a full symphony of chaos. His expressions twist and stretch as though gravity and anatomy are mere suggestions. Watching Carey is like witnessing someone rewrite the rules of physics for comedic effect. Pure, unpredictable, and brilliantly unhinged. In his hands, Trump becomes more than a political figure. He's a living cartoon, trapped in a surreal comedy where logic has checked out and the only law that matters is laughter.
Since he won the election, technically as president, he could now, in effect, order the government to pay him. Well, that doesn't seem right. I mean, if you're going to do that, why stop at $230 million? Why not just let him go to Fort Knox, lose the pants, and go Scrooge McDuck into a pile of gold? Just like that. Now,
it's not just the humor, it's the timing. Colbert lands his lines like perfectly thrown darts, each one striking the bullseye of absurdity with surgical precision. His pauses, glances, and word choices turn mockery into an art form. Meanwhile, Carey is a full-blown whirlwind, spinning through the chaos like a human tornado of energy and expression, leaving behind a trail of laughter, confusion, and disbelief. Separately, they're unstoppable forces. Together, they're a perfect storm of satire, sharp, relentless, and devastatingly effective. Every viewer feels the thrill of witnessing intellect, creativity, and pure comedic force aimed at one very deserving target. Trump's reactions or awkward silences only add fuel to the spectacle. You can almost picture him in his office, fumbling for a retort that somehow manages to sound both defensive and incoherent. He doesn't just miss the joke, he becomes part of it, actively feeding his own caricature. Each misstep, Each overreaction, each desperate attempt to reclaim dignity, crumbles under the dual assault of Colbert's precision and Carey's chaos. Colbert's comedy is a scalpel. Clever, biting and meticulously designed to expose contradictions and magnify absurdities. Carey's, in contrast, is a hammer, visceral, unrestrained, and delightfully anarchic. One dissects reality with logic and wit. The other explodes it with raw energy and imagination. The result is the same every time. Trump left blinking, baffled, and increasingly out of touch. As the world laughs at the spectacle he so eagerly creates,
I just want to express it in a positive way. You know, I mean, I want to turn everything painful into art.
And you react to the pipe bombs. Are you afraid personally ever?
Apparently, I was threatened on Twitter, so I don't know. I didn't see the thing. I heard there was, you know, some severed goat head, and I'll see you soon kind of thing. But, you know, you got to speak, man. You can't, this is not a time to clam up, you know, and not a time to get frightened. You know, you have to do what you have to do. This is dire.
Colbert can take a single Trump moment and turn it into a full-blown masterclass in ridicule. One mispronounced word, a botched statistic, or a wildly exaggerated claim becomes fuel for a dozen jokes that slice, dice, and flambe what's left of credibility. He doesn't just highlight the absurdity, he magnifies it with surgical precision until it's impossible to ignore. Watching him break down a press conference feels like witnessing a magician pull endless scarves from a hat. Except every scarf is tagged with something outrageous Trump just said. Meanwhile, Carey thrives in chaos. Where Colbert dissects, Carey transforms. Every twitch, pause, and grandiose gesture becomes a living cartoon. 1 second, Trump's trying to appear serious. The next, Carey's captured him mid-fist pump, mid-pout, mid-hand flail, each moment inflated into surreal brilliance. You can sense Carey's glee as he spins real behavior into comedic art, cranking it to 11 and topping it with his signature elastic madness. His physical comedy hits so hard it makes viewers laugh, gasp, and question if reality just took a coffee break. Together, Colbert and Carey create an unstoppable force, precision and chaos colliding, and Trump, caught in the crossfire, can only flounder helplessly beneath the weight of their perfectly timed mockery.
We're just, as I said, we're just 9 months into Trump's turn, and he's going Hulk smash on the White House. Last time, it took him at least 4 years to bring a demo crew to the Capitol. This is happening after Trump specifically promised his ballroom construction wouldn't touch the existing White House. Here he is talking about it this summer.
It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it, and pays total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of. It's my favorite place. I love it.
So that was a lie. At this point, should we even believe that this is going to end up being a ballroom? It could just as easily end up being a combination Pizza Hut Taco Bell.
Colbert attacks the logic of Trump's claims while Carey dismantles the reality of his presence. One operates with intellect, precision, and merciless control. The other thrives in chaos, turning every gesture into a carnival of absurdity. Together, they form a two-pronged masterclass in humiliation, an assault so layered and inventive it borders on performance art. Imagine trying to defend yourself while one person dissects your contradictions with razor-sharp wit and another reenacts your every move as if reality itself were melting under the weight of parody. Colbert's comedy feels like watching a craftsman at his bench, methodically carving away at the veneer of confidence. He exposes the hairline cracks in Trump's armor, the overstatements, the contradictions, the self-congratulatory tangents, and magnifies them just enough to make the ridiculous impossible to ignore. His jokes don't just land. They build, each one stacking on the last until the entire facade collapses under the logic of its own absurdity. It's not mere mockery, it's satire as forensic analysis, laced with sarcasm sharp enough to cut steel. Carey, meanwhile, doesn't analyze, he detonates. His humor is pure embodiment, a kinetic explosion of faces, voices, and exaggerated motion. Every smirk, pause, and flailing gesture becomes a living cartoon that bends reality until Trump is no longer a man but a caricature of his own ego. Carey reshapes the scene into something surreal, where the lines between comedy and chaos blur completely, and all the audience can do is watch, laugh, and marvel at the spectacle.
We are babysat by the television. We're taught how to think by the television. That's the dangerous thing about what's going on right now. There are generations growing up right now who are learning to lie. That lying is okay. That this
kids say fake news.
That you're supposed to hate half the country. You know? And if anything, we've got to get back to a place where we realize.
What's most fascinating is the psychological toll it takes on Trump. He isn't just mocked, he's dissected. Colbert's jokes cut like surgical scalpels, exposing every flaw and contradiction with unnerving precision. No misstep is too small. Each becomes a case study in absurdity. Carey's physical comedy, meanwhile, is merciless. His energy leaves no room for dignity or escape. Together, they create a kind of comedic pincer movement so relentless and layered that even the most inflated ego starts to wobble under the pressure. Take, for example, one of Trump's infamous press conference gaffes, already a spectacle of confusion. Colbert turns it into an autopsy of logic, while Carey transforms it into a full-blown operatic performance. That awkward hand gesture? In Carey's world, it becomes a 3-minute symphony of exaggerated faces, impossible contortions, and perfectly timed sound effects. It's cartoonish, surreal, and utterly hypnotic. The result isn't just laughter, it's revelation. Comedy becomes a mirror, and in its reflection, Trump's carefully constructed image unravels spectacularly.
From people going, no, you don't believe in anything. It's a cult of personality, blah, 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 meow, meow, meow. But I want to be fair here, okay? There is one thing that MAGA has believed from the beginning, and they still believe it. And that's that there is a secret cabal of top government officials who meet at shadowy dinners to strategize how to hide the sins of wealthy sex traffickers and pedophiles. They do believe that. And for that, I have never criticized them because I'm sure. Have I? I don't think so. Maybe I have. I don't know. Maybe.
Colbert creates clarity through humor. Carey creates chaos through humor, yet both arrive at the same destination, exposing absurdity. Viewers are helplessly captivated. Each joke, exaggeration, and perfectly timed facial distortion draws them deeper into a world where Trump is no longer just a man, but a character in a wildly satirical story. The comedy is relentless, yet the transitions from one moment of mockery to the next are seamless, making the chaos feel almost natural, as if reality itself has bent for entertainment. It's not merely mockery. It's an ecosystem of humor designed to illuminate the ridiculousness of a man who has become a lightning rod for satire. The brilliance of Colbert and Carey lies in their contrasting methods, which converge with devastating effectiveness. Colbert builds tension with razor-sharp commentary, letting the audience anticipate each punchline and savor the satisfaction of truth wrapped in sarcasm. Carey, by contrast, obliterates expectation entirely, warping reality around his exaggerated interpretations, turning every gesture, pause, and expression into a spectacle of surreal comedy. Together, they craft a dual assault, one surgical, one chaotic, that leaves Trump exposed, absurd, and utterly entrancing as a target for their unmatched comedic genius.
Before we show you the new piece of art. So we explained at the time, there's a lot of reasons why Carey went in this direction. This was before the violence broke out, and it was pretty prescient. There's Trump like a madman roaming, both the White House, which kind of has a shining feel inside in some ways, and the gardens and the Capitol, etc. That cartoon turned out to be foreshadowing in a pretty scary way. And it says, "You're the caretaker, Mr. Trump. You've always."
Every joke Colbert delivers lands with surgical precision, leaving the audience laughing, cringing, and marveling at the sheer audacity. He dissects contradictions, exaggerates absurdities, and constructs punchlines that hit like scalpel cuts, exposing flaws so clearly they're impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Carey takes a single gesture, tone, or facial expression and transforms it into something mythically absurd. A simple shrug becomes a multi-layered performance, twisting reality until Trump's attempts at seriousness vanish entirely. Carey turns physical comedy into an art form, bending time, space, and expectation, creating a playground where exaggeration reigns and the subject is utterly exposed. The brilliance lies in how Colbert and Carey operate in parallel. Colbert meticulously uncovers illogic and irony, building tension with each carefully chosen word. Carey escalates chaos, turning every movement into a surreal spectacle. Together, they form a cosmic comedy experiment where logic and reality are optional, and the results are devastatingly effective. Trump's responses, or more accurately his inability to respond, only amplify the humor. He flails, stammers, and tries to clarify, but every effort reinforces the ridicule. Colbert exposes the absurdity with precision. Carey amplifies it with chaos. The result is a whirlwind of satire and exaggeration, leaving Trump trapped at the center of a comedic storm, helpless and spectacularly flabbergasted, as audiences watch, laugh, and revel in the unrelenting spectacle.